Hello and welcome to the Ross Cloud Podcast. I'm your host, Car.Ross Sr. And this platform was created to motivate and to inspire in hopes that you will become a better you. I'd like to give everybody a shout out there that's listening all over the world, especially those right here in North Carolina. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to the Ross Cloud Podcast, Brussels, Belgium, and all of our folks that's listening. Thank you. Brittany Griner, let's keep her in our prayers. All right. So listen, I have my hostess with the mostest here, the one and only Miss Candi T. Jeter.
What's happening?
Yes. What's good, man?
What's going on out there?
Yeah. Candi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, I'm doing good, man. We still in the building.
Well, that's what's up. That's all that matters. Let's keep it moving.
Let's keep it moving, right?
Yeah,
that's what we got to do. So listen, we have an interesting topic, one that we said we was going to talk about anyway. It's been a long time coming, but I guess we kind of finally been able to talk about it now.
It came off of talking about honesty.
It did.
And constructive criticism.
Right?
And then we ended up over here.
Yeah. So basically, we're going to try to tackle this the best way we can. But we're going to kind of talk about the porn industry, talk about I guess some of the things, the truths, and then some of the lies,
some of the myths,
and then also some of the things that possibly can hurt you too. So it's kind of like it's going to be kind of interesting, right? And so, here are some, I guess we could get into it. I guess I could say, porn is very interesting. It's been around for a long time. Whatever you consider to be porn, I guess you think about the old days, the way porn is now versus the way porn was then. They're like literally like night and day.
Yeah.
Even from the clothing that they wear, even from the scale of money, the amount of money that they made then. And that's across the board with everything. But porn is such a, number one, it's such a taboo in our society. It's a secret taboo. Still, right? Even then in the 20s and 30s and as we go even further back, because nothing's new under the sun.
Right.
Trust me, nothing new under the sun. It came from somewhere, right?
Yeah. So
porn is one of those taboos. And so many people are really affected by porn. We don't talk about it, but it really is. It affects our society. Some would say in a good way, some would say in a bad way. I'm not here to judge either, but I think having these type of conversations are good, especially when it comes to constructive criticism to honesty to now talking about pornography.
Yeah,
it's crazy, right? But
yeah, because I think a lot of people use porn as a spinoff to not being honest and giving constructive criticism to their partners. So a lot of times they get lost in porn in order to fulfill those gaps.
Wow.
And so that's, to me, that's the opening, like the gateway. Something you're not getting in your relationship, you're getting over here, or at least you think you're getting it.
Yeah. There's a lot of emptiness there too, though. Because then you're thinking about reality versus a fantasy world, a narrative that's created for the pleasure center, to be pleasurable. But the reality is, you might not want to take that home.
Yeah.
Just keep it at 100, because your wife ain't gonna do that. What you been looking at, she's not gonna do that now.
Yeah,
she's not gonna do that. So, pornography. So it's a noun, of course, and so it says hardcore porn. Television programs, magazines, etc., that regard as emphasizing the sensuous or sensational aspect of non-sexual subject and stimulating a compulsive interest in their audience. something that one of the words they use is thrilling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So again, it touches the pleasure center of the brain.
So are we going to say that skydiving and porn activate the same
I would say,
part of the brain?
I would say so. I would say it is an adrenaline rush.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we would be honest, even before sex, there is a racing of something happens on the inside of our body whenever there's sex happens, or when it's about to happen, or sexual tension, because I believe that you can have sex with somebody and not even touch them.
Yeah,
I believe you can have an attraction for somebody and not even touch them, and something could be happening on the inside of your body, but you never even talk about it. But it can happen, right? If that energy is that powerful and that strong. So imagine if the two come together.
Right.
What will happen? It would be an explosion happen. I remember watching a documentary on pornography. I wish I had those correct terms, but I don't. But they were talking about what happens, and they were actually showing the physical, what happens to the body sexually, like at that time. And then they had classical music going while the body was going through those different emotions. Well, we call them endorphins. Okay.
Endorphins, yeah.
Endorphins,
that's right.
yeah. So they would actually show it happening not in real time, but of course, cameras can speed up, and they would show how the body would be reacting. And it was something very beautiful, because I think when God created mankind, sex was to be enjoyable. I mean, it was supposed to be pleasurable. I mean, he made it for pleasure, right? So it touches that part of the body. And so as it was showing it was beautiful. It literally was beautiful to see what was happening inside of the body when those cells and everything working together while they were actually in the act of or about to. And he actually showed the hairs of a man or a female. Goosebumps actually rise up. Right. So your body goes through a whole bunch of things, right? Doing that. So it says, what is porn? It's, like I said, pornography or porn usually means videos, photos, shows naked people or people engaging in sexual acts. I gave a different one. Some people might look at porn as a way to, what you said, again, to satisfy themselves.
Fill a void.
That's right, Candi. So I guess one of the questions is it right? Is it wrong? Is it right? Can it enhance your sexual life in the bedroom with your spouse? Or should that be off limits? Or should you just be enough sexually?
Yeah, I think that's such a personal question.
Isn't that a personal question?
Individual.
That is individual, because some people would give different answers.
Yeah. I think it depends on your baseline mental stability or where you are mentally to determine that. Because anything that you depend on takes your power.
Oh, I like that.
So if you literally can take it or leave it, it might not affect you the same way as somebody else that may actually be addicted to it. So it's the same thing is drinking right or wrong? It depends on whether that person can handle a drink. If somebody can actually handle a drink, then drinking is not an issue. Yeah. But if they have one drink and then the next thing you know, they have a blackout and they don't remember anything that happened because they polished off a whole bottle of Parmesan, then drinking is a problem for that person.
Yes. So
it just depends on the person. I know it has never been porn for me. Porn is not. First of all, I'm not really a window shopper.
Understood. Yeah.
I know my dad used to have this thing where every Sunday he used to want to go look at cars.
Okay.
And we would go test drive cars and stuff like that. Me and my sisters, my dad or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would always say, "Are we gonna get one?" He'd be like, "No, we're just driving them."
Right.
We just driving them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, that don't make sense. Like, Why are we coming out here spending our whole day out here on Sunday when we could just be at the crib chilling, and we getting in and out of cars and we riding them, and we not gonna bring one home?
Great
right?
analogy, though.
I would be like, okay.
So I can
I'm
understand.
not interested anymore.
So I understand. That's
You
a
know?
great analogy to piggyback off of what you're saying.
Yeah, that's how I feel about porn.
Right? You look at, I can't take them on with me.
That's
pointless.
Yeah, if I'm looking and you got 9 inches and then
Right.
my husband has 6, I'm gonna be a little pissed off by the time I finish. I'm not gonna feel rejuvenated.
Correct.
I'm not gonna feel enriched.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be longing for something. I'm gonna be like, oh my God, I never really even thought about comparing until I actually saw that.
Yeah.
Now I'm a little irritated.
And that's a scare. See, now I love that you brought that up, because that is exactly what would happen.
Yeah,
you get into
that's
this
why
comparison
I don't even
game.
look at porn.
Right.
You know,
'Cause
I
at
mean,
the end,
except the trip out maybe because the acting is horrible.
Oh, it's terrible.
So I might laugh and cut up
Yes.
or whatever. But if you look at porn compared to soap operas or romantic movies, now I'm into that.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking that's the build up, right? And women love soaps, whereas men are like, man, why y'all like them soap operas? And we like, why y'all like porn?
Right. Exactly.
You know? And so, but both of them, I think, tap into that fantasy, pleasure, sense area that appeal to women, and I'm generalizing.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I'm generalizing
because I know there may be some that are different. Mm-hmm. Now here's a great fact that I just pulled up while you were talking about that. There's a 84% of women read romance novels. Mm-hmm. That's a huge percent. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me, I remember, I don't know, you may remember this, but years ago, Oprah Winfrey, it might not have been Oprah Winfrey. That's just always the go-to, right? Mm-hmm. But it may not have been Oprah Winfrey, but they did a show, and the women said that they were more aroused. What was the guy that used to always be on the cover of romance novels?
Fabian,
right? Him, right? Great, you remember that though, right?
Yeah.
So she had him on the show. This guy doesn't say anything. He's just the guy on the cover of those books, right? Those romance books. And the women, they say the women on that show would get, and again, 84%. It's, how can I say that? It's porn without it being porn.
Yeah.
If you will. Like, even if you read the Songs of Solomon, a lot of sexual
that is deep, ain't it? It's deep.
And if you go there, it can take you there. It really can be an arousing thing for you and your spouse to read, or your partner to read the Songs of Solomon. So
work,
that makes sense. 84%.
That makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense, right?
Because I know at work, me and my girlfriends used to read Elin Harris novels. And Elin Harris his bent was all about, heterosexual men in DL relationships.
Okay.
And they would always be highly romantic to the women and give the women everything that they wanted in order to offset what it was. So you have that tension there.
Yeah.
And you would think that women would be repulsed by it. But when you think of romance, sex, and drama,
gotcha,
those things really run the world at this point.
Yeah, it's so true.
And so you have the romance that women love. You have this whole porn industry that men crave and that women actually facilitate. Right? We facilitate it. When you look at it, women are part of all of it.
Absolutely.
Big time, right?
Right.
And what's missing out of porn for women is the romance part.
And listen.
And that's what we That's what we want. We want that part. So when we're sitting down and we're watching it, we're like, what's the storyline? And y'all like it. There is no storyline. That is the storyline right there.
The funny thing about men, we don't even watch the storyline.
Don't even watch the
storyline. You
storyline.
fast forward to get straight to the point.
Yeah.
So here's what it says. The difference between romance novels is porn lies in emphasis. Romance novels are different. Just what you're saying. There is a peak,
a building up.
Building up.
Yeah.
It's the journey. It's the getting to. It's the courting.
He sees her across the room.
He sees her across the room. And
he stares at her.
Right.
And,
right.
It's that whole, before we even
up.
touch.
You haven't even touched.
Yeah.
Would you like your drink, ma'am?
Yeah.
May I take you on the dance floor?
Yes, it's the idea
of it, but it's not actually happening, right?
And then after the sex happens, men are thinking one way and women are thinking another. Because after the sex happens, the women are thinking, okay, now we got to fix our lives so that this happens again. And men are thinking, they want it to happen again, but they're not necessarily building their life around it.
No, not at all.
Yeah, if it happens to happen again, great. Yeah. But women are like, okay, so when are we going to make this happen again? And immediately, this is where the split comes. Yeah. Because now the fantasy's over for the man.
Absolutely.
And now she's turning it into a responsibility. She's like, you got to make this happen again.
Yeah. And now that you're saying that, what was that movie that, it was a scene in the movie where Angela Bassett and Wesley Snipes were, what was the name?
Waiting to Exhale.
Waiting to Exhale, right? Great moment, right? So they both were married. Of course, her and her husband, they were split. Mm-hmm. He was away on business.
His wife had cancer.
Mm-hmm. But they both knew that what they were doing was wrong, right? But it was something about their connection. So instead of actually having sex, they ended up just sleeping in the bed and holding each other.
Right.
I must admit, but when I watched it, I was like, damn, that was hard.
Right.
Like, that was so dope. Like, and so for them to show that, it showed a different side to black men too. Yeah. Which I appreciated, because that is a moment she'll never forget that.
Right.
And he didn't actually have intercourse.
Yeah.
He laid there and he held her throughout the night and treated her respectfully. And he got up and went home.
Yeah. Yep.
To still be with his wife. But that was a moment that was pleasurable for him because his wife couldn't do that.
And they made sure that they let you know that he was probably owed that because his wife wasn't having sex.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And he wanted that.
He felt like.
And she felt like, oh, this is my moment to get my revenge.
Yeah.
He did what to me? Oh, yeah, I'm finna. But they didn't even
The respect would have been lost.
The respect would have been lost then. It was mutual, but it didn't happen. It just ended up being, I'm going to hold you all night long. Good example, though. When I thought about that, that's the first thing came to my mind. I was like, oh, my God, that was the most beautiful moment in a love scene.
Right.
Nothing happened. He held her all night long, and she woke up in his arms, and then he went home.
That's a great beginning to a relationship once all ties have been dissolved.
Absolutely right. Yeah. That's what I was thinking about when I think about how, sometimes the two differ, but they showed something different with him. Like, I really want to lay with you. You fine. God almighty. My wife. He was twirling his cognac, his whiskey around. It was just a beautiful moment. Yeah. Like, that whole scene was just fire, man. It was so romantic, so well put together. So the contrast between that and porn, totally different.
Totally different.
The emphasis on porn is let's get to it.
Yeah.
Terrible acting. hey,
Horrible.
baby, get in here now. Let's get it on,
Right.
It's awful.
It's horrible.
So you want to just cut. Let's go ahead and see what they finna do. Take them clothes off, So, yeah. Very, very interesting the way you talked about that, And so it helps understand, because my wife reads romance novels.
Yeah.
And I think if we can read those, we can tap into them even better.
Oh, yeah.
If we just read them, open them up and we read them, we'll tap into it and be like, oh my God.
Yeah. Man.
He did what?
If a man took his cues from romance novels, we'd have to knock men in the head.
What?
It would be terrible.
It'd be terrible.
It would be terrible.
Facts. I didn't understand what it was about soap operas either. But now that I watch my wife, when she has a moment to watch them, I'll sit there and watch them with him. But sometimes I'm watching them for the acting purposes to see different motions, different, emotions or different moves or how they may lean in. And that's just for my own, education
that's
purpose.
Acting,
that's the acting part, right?
Coming out.
But when I started really, really watching and really paying attention to the dialogue and what's being said, it's like, wow. That was heavy.
Yeah, because, the men on there are really expressing their love.
They are, aren't they?
They're declaring it. And so
and they pulling the women into
they're
them.
leaning in.
They leaning in,
Yeah.
and then they're showing a different side of aggression.
Yeah.
That's passion.
Yeah.
That passion is deep, but then they pull them in. And they say, I've been waiting to kiss you all night long. You know what I'm saying? And you sit there like, wow.
Yeah.
And then they go into this huge kissing moment, So, yeah.
Yeah, you can't get that out of porn.
No,
man.
no. You ain't getting that out of nasty. That's what you're going to get out of porn, girl.
Right.
So as it pertains to being honest and having constructive criticism, should you tell your spouse exactly what it is that you want in the bedroom? While we're talking about the porn industry and the difference, I think the reality is you probably can't get that.
Yeah, well, when it comes to women telling men what they want, it's usually out of the bedroom. And then the man, he's going to want to tell her what he wants in the bedroom.
Right. And I think that's fair. I think you should be able to talk about that from a mature standpoint.
Yeah, you give me this outside, I'm going to give you all this on the inside.
Right.
It's got to be understood that the women operate from the inside out and men operate from the outside in. Yin yang.
Yin yang and the yang.
Yeah.
That's right. I find it so funny, like, when you think about who you are as an individual, and I'm just speaking like, when we're individuals that, before we got married, we was aggressive. We said exactly what we wanted.
Exactly.
You talking on the phone. When you think about when you live in a single life, if you're living a single life and you pretty much like, look, this is what I want.
Do you like
this like that?
And then you can go for like hours in that conversation, but after you land each other, that conversation isn't had. It
isn't had, right?
I don't understand that.
I don't understand that either. But you can have that. Those things should still be happening. Well, baby, I like this right here, baby. I would love for this right happen. But the funny thing is, you can find yourself in a great situation if you talk about it.
You can.
You'll find yourself getting hot, and you might mess around and strip your clothes off right then and there and get down with the get down.
You'll get exactly what you want.
You'll get exactly what you want. But yeah, as I think we all should do that. I don't think, porn is such a touchy situation for some. Some people watch it and it doesn't affect them. And then you have those that it does affect them. They may not think about it, but, we have to wonder, are there some ways that porn could possibly have a negative effect on your brain, body, and quality of life.
Yeah.
Can it?
I think it creates a loop for some people.
I think it does too.
Where you can't really get out of it because there's no real resolve to it. It doesn't lead to anywhere.
No.
You just do it again and again and again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm. You find yourself in a cycle.
Yeah.
Nothing's really changing. So here's our. This is a great segue into it. So this is what this said. This is called fightthenewdrug.org.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? It says, number one, and this is what it says. So don't shoot the messenger, y'all. I'm just reading this information. And again, this is, there's the premise of this platform is to help people become better. No judgment, but something for you just to think about, okay? So fightthenewdrug.org. Number one, porn encourages self-gratification. Problem, delayed gratification is a crucial skill to learn if one is to maintain control and direction in their life. Basically, the healthiest of individuals have mastered the art of discipline and delayed gratification. Number two on the list says, porn can destroy a consumer's values. Problem, video is powerful. Mm-hmm. Sex is powerful, right? Mm-hmm. We live in a world where we need to see something to believe in. And in our fast-paced, information-driven world, video is the preferred means of communication and information that we get, right? Mm-hmm. All right, so let's read this. Number three. Now, again, these are 5 ways porn can negatively affect you, okay? Number three, porn can cause erectile dysfunction. Didn't see that one. Mm-hmm. Didn't see that one.
Or overly stimulated yourself.
I got you. This one is right.
Saturation.
What?
There ain't left room for your wife or your husband to do nothing.
What? It said this one is specifically for guys. Fertility is important for almost every guy I know. The rise in porn-induced erectile dysfunction is something to be alarmed about. Frequently watching porn can lead to erections which can increasingly only be induced by hardcore pornography. Mm-hmm. And it says that's not healthy. Mm-hmm. Wow. Porn can encourage social isolation. Watching porn in most cases demands isolation. Anything that consumers do in secrecy usually leads to shame. One of the first effects of frequently watching porn for men and women, especially those who are young, can be social awkwardness in public, which ironically leads to more shame and hiding. Wow. Porn doesn't inspire goal setting.
It doesn't inspire what?
I'm sorry, y'all. It says porn does not inspire goal setting. I guess not if you're sitting there yanking your monkey all day long, right? Oh, my God. So in my practice, I have never met someone hooked on porn who excelled at goal setting.
Wow.
As I stated earlier, most people who abuse pornography usually also struggle in their finances, relationships, and careers. Mm-hmm. It's no coincidence. Hey, listen, I'm just reading this right here from an actual professor. So the simplest solution to this is to become a master of the to-do list and rewarding yourself. So for those struggling with porn, every night before bed, write out a list of everything you need to accomplish the next day in order of importance. The next day proceeds to knock everything out on the list. Whatever is left over goes on the list for the next day. The key.
I thought they were going to say whatever's left over, you can reward yourself with porn.
Listen, it says the key is rewarding yourself for accomplishing tasks on your list.
So you give yourself 15, 20 minutes of that.
I guess so. And this is what it says. But no, listen to what it says. It said, of course, the reward can't be porn. But it should be something you enjoy doing leisurely.
Yeah.
Use the activities that usually get in the way of your goals as rewards. Mm-hmm. So don't reward yourself with porn, all right?
Yeah. That'll lead to another spiraling and not reaching your goals.
Tell me about it, man. So that porn is something, I've read that before, where it says people deal with depression and real bad that watch porn, and not in most cases, but in some cases, if you watch porn a whole lot, then you suffer with that, the isolation part. You suffer in a whole lot of areas. Mm-hmm. So it's a thin line. You got to walk with that thing. You know what I'm saying? So, it's funny that we're having this conversation because you hear so many people come forth and talk about it. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people will talk about it. There's a lot of shame that comes along with it. But hell, if you watch it, you watch it. But you need to be careful with this because it can be very damaging to you. Yeah, not to mention, go ahead.
I think that article that video that I saw that prompted this, it is fantasy, and those people are getting tested. Whereas when you out here trying to find somebody to do that, 9 times out of 10, they hadn't been tested. So you gotta determine if you want to play this out, because a lot of people, that's what they want to do. They want to take it off the camera and they want to make it into reality.
Yeah.
And if your spouse and a person that you're in a monogamous relationship is not into that, then who are you getting to participate? I think that is going to be the wild card for a lot of people that get people in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Facts. Because what you see, you try to emulate it. Mm-hmm. We don't like to talk about that. If we would just be honest about a lot of these things, we can kind of look at our lives and say where we've made our mistakes at.
Yeah.
And we don't want to say porn was the reason why, or it was the crutch or the thing that led us to that. And
a lot of men don't have peace with their wives when their wives say they want to do exactly what's in the porn.
Mm-hmm. They look at you weird, though.
Sometimes they are a little suspicious.
Oh, yeah.
If that wife is like, well, yeah, let's do all of that.
Yeah.
If she's too excited, it's going to be a problem.
Who you been freaking with, girl?
It's going to be a problem.
Right.
Right. So there we go again with the honesty.
Yes.
And having the honor. That made me feel a little bit insecure when I brought that to you and you was like extra excited.
Right. Because you don't know what that partner is insecure about.
Yeah.
Like you said.
Yeah, that's what you said you wanted.
Right.
Because that happens a lot.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Like you be looking at it and you thinking like you looking at yourself and you like, well, shoot, I ain't got that. So I hope you don't think that's what you're finna get. You looking at that. Just when people watch it, you don't know. Like you said, those insecurities, they'll pop up, man.
Yeah.
Whatever. And it could be vice versa. Your wife looking at you like, man, I ain't got that. I ain't doing that.
I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not doing it,
Yeah.
So you just headed, this is bad business, man. You get into that comparison game, like you said. Her breasts ain't real. They fake. She paid for them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot. It's a lot. And it's we always say it on here, Candi. It's a $97 billion industry.
Wow. That's amazing.
It's a 97. I think last time I said $97 billion industry.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
And half the people that actually make it ain't involved in it. That's like Steve Jobs when he came out with the iPhone and the and all of those gadgets. Yeah. He said his kids weren't on those.
Yeah, right.
It was like he made them, but his kids didn't participate in having themselves glued to phones like our kids are. So you got a lot of people that's making money off of it, and they're not even participating.
No, they're not. They're making it for the consumer so they can get paid.
That ought to tell you a lot.
I'll tell you a lot, right? So listen to this. It's also way, way more than the total net worth of COVID vaccines.
Wow.
The figure $97 billion comes from pre-COVID times.
Oh, wow. Not even including when everybody was on lockdown.
Thank you. You can imagine the business didn't plummet when everyone spent some time at home in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So how much did they really make?
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, can. And that's why I thought this would be a good topic because maybe not some folks, but, some of us have watched porn, Some of us have got introduced to porn by way of an adult that wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? You sitting there as a kid and you're like, oh, wow, what in the world are those?
Yeah.
Is that what I think that is?
Yeah.
He just did what? So that can... whoever, the gateway, and there's something that I wanted to share also. Listen to these numbers right here. Now, we just said $97 billion industry, right? Boy, that's a lot of houses. That's a lot of cars and clothes and businesses and property and investments. Woo, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. But
they broke it down to seconds. They broke it down to seconds. So every second, 28,258 users are watching porn. So that means just now in a second, somebody just clicked on some pornography.
Wow, almost 30,000 people per second.
Per second are watching porn. Now listen to this. Listen to the money spent. Now this second now. $3,075.64 is being spent on sex videos every second.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's crazy. That's what I'm saying. When you look at the numbers, right, you ain't even thinking about it.
$3,000 a second.
A second is being made off of pornography. That's a lot, Candi.
That's a lot.
And 372 people every second are typing the word adult into search engines. Yes, every second.
Wow.
What would you do if you could make $3,000 a second?
Hey, my mind is kind of, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm like, man.
What?
300 a second. If I could corner 300 a second,
Candi,
$30 a second.
Candi, I can't even fathom that.
Yeah.
Like $3,000 a second is spent on a sex video.
Wow.
I mean, just wrap your mind around that. And then we wonder why the infidelity rate is like it is.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We wonder why sex trafficking is the way that it is.
That's a big deal now, right?
Deal. Child pornography. I mean, we got to think about all of this. Rape is happening the way that it is.
Yeah. Child pornography is taking off.
These numbers don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
And this probably ain't even all the numbers.
I don't think it is.
No.
Yeah.
These are figures around about based off of some study.
Yeah.
It's got to be more than that. This world is big. $97 billion, Candi.
Wow.
So that means your children watching them too. Your young children.
Yeah, every time you turn your computer on and you got a virus on it.
You know what it is.
Yeah.
You know what it is. You ain't even gotta ask. You already know, right?
Right.
You already know. And boy, you get your tail whooped. What you was looking at on this computer?
Right.
Your butt toe up, boy. Ooh-wee. So, you know, it is not it's not surprising that people are having issues and, you know, having these issues in the bedroom. You know, we don't want to blame it on that, but come on, man, it's a $97 billion industry.
Wow.
$3,000 spent a second. Candi, that's a lot of darn money.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
So guess what? People are having problems with their finances too. Problem.
That's got to be number one.
It's got to be number one.
That's the number one thing people are spending their money on.
$97 billion?
Yeah.
It ain't going nowhere.
No.
It's actually getting worse.
It's getting worse.
I mean, because think about it. If you watch what we see happening, when you watch music videos, it's almost like soft porn. When you watch BET Awards, you just watch soft porn.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And no, we're not knocking anybody, you know. Do what you want to do, but
yeah,
you know, there's a everybody ain't right in that head up here, and everybody can't handle that.
No,
because they'll find themselves out here in these streets, you know,
trying to recreate
it, man. You know, and you know we laugh about it, we giggle about it, but then you have people, you know, Jeffrey Dahmer story and some other stories, and you know how many people are just a second away from being those individuals, those monsters, right?
Right.
So it's a $97 billion industry, you know, and if you ain't got no self-control, if you ain't got no discipline, you're going to find yourself behind bars.
That's a black hole. Now,
it's
I'm interested to know, what is gambling? Can you...
You know, that's a great question, because that's another issue that we have. It's another addiction. It's another drug.
I wonder what the numbers are for gambling compared to porn.
Let me look that up. Porn industry versus gambling. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they wasn't in the same boat. You know, I wouldn't be surprised.
Because that's another escape activity.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see anything on here just yet.
Yeah,
it keeps saying it. The only thing it's saying, it keeps bringing up porn being a billion, it's billions and billions of dollars industry. You know, oh man. So I would imagine it's almost in that same category, you know.
Yeah.
When we think about it. Oh, listen to this. The gambling industry, now that you picked it up, now that you said something about it, in 2023, by the time 2023, the gambling industry is worth $525 billion.
Wow.
So it's true what they say, sex, money, and drugs. Sex, gambling, drugs, money.
So $97 billion for porn.
$97 billion.
$500 billion for gambling.
And by the time 2026 comes, it's going to be an $876 billion industry.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Wow, because people are struggling with gambling as well.
Struggling with gambling as well.
Real bad.
And we don't even want to talk about
that's
drugs, and we don't even want to talk. We get into cocaine and crack, and you know.
Now we got opiates. And
man.
Meth
so
and
you got all of these type of drugs now,
and it's getting worse where people are finding it hard to deal with reality. That's definitely something that we have to talk about, because people are really having a hard time dealing with reality, and they're running to these things.
It's a fantasy
that's taking all of their money.
Yeah. The thing that's so, I guess the thing that really bothered me the most when it came to the situation with, I guess sometimes we don't understand people. You know, I feel like it's somebody out there for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you like, I'm sure it's somebody out there that there's some consent that can go along with that so you don't get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all. Right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's somebody out there for everybody.
Yeah.
And there's something where you can get that pleasure that you need. But again, it's a fantasy world.
Yeah.
And the reality is that may not be somebody's real world.
Yeah.
You actually feel, the one reason why I feel like the porn industry is escalating the way that it is because people are actually doing that now.
Mm-hmm.
They're creating accounts now where they can actually do that kind of stuff and monetize it and make money off
It's
of.
not just a magazine anymore.
It's not just a magazine.
Yeah.
It's become what you said, reality for some people.
Yeah.
They actually have created platforms for themselves where they can exercise their right to be porn stars without going into the industry, because again, this computer, YouTube, and all these other platforms that OnlyFans is another, because you know they were trying to shut that down. They was trying to shut that down. I don't know if they have, but OnlyFans also, those things like that. You know, I'm sure it's a couple other platforms that are there that people can go on and they can purchase that. You know, all of that's part of the industry.
It's part of it.
It's part of it. So people are making millions of dollars, you know, creating their own fantasy world. And that can be scary because the people that are watching, you don't know where their mind is. Yeah. You know, it's wild out here, you know. It's wild out here, man.
It is.
Somebody can get hurt, you know, if you get mixed up with the wrong individual, like you were saying. You know, those porn stars, they're in a controlled environment, so they, you know, they're able to take care of themselves, you know, take shots and get checked on a regular. I think that's what we were talking about earlier. The young lady that was pretty open about that.
Yeah. You know, she said they have a special center that they go to get checked out regularly.
That makes sense, though. Yeah. Because that's going to protect them and the companies that they're, you know, of course, you're a willing, able body. You said you wanted to do it. So you signed up for it. So what you signing up for, they're like, look, we got to protect everybody. Yeah. I get it. But I wonder how many people get sick.
Well, I know back in the day, they were getting sick back in the 80s.
Back in the 80s, you're right. Quite a few people got HIV.
And then they started really cracking down.
I wonder how those STDs, like I'm sure people get, you know, back then we said venereal diseases, but STDs, I wonder how often people get gonorrhea.
You mean on camera?
Like doing after a scene, you know, 3 days later, you go into the doctor, you know. I wonder how many times.
Claim is down now.
They say it's down now.
But it used to be pretty rampant back in the day.
Well, you got to be a bold somebody to go on camera and say you're going to show your entire crack on TV, you know. You got to be a bold somebody, you hear me?
Disconnected.
Yeah, you disconnected from the whole world, from society. You are in that world, Jack.
You are.
Yeah, man.
And they say the money is really good.
Yeah. Those guys are making a lot of money.
Those girls who are trying to, who don't want to strip, that's a part of it.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
I forgot the strip clubs. All that is all that's intertwined together. You're right. Because some of those girls are dancers. They go from dancing to that, from the pole.
Yeah, one girl said she only works a couple of times a year, and that pretty much pays her bills.
Wow.
A couple of times a year. She films, and you know, there's some people that do it a lot more, but she said 2 times a year is good for her.
I wonder if they have healthy relationships. You know, you hear tales of them having, you know, they married or they got boyfriends and girlfriends. Some of them. I'm like, how do they do that? You really have to be, just like you said, there's such a disconnect. if you can turn it on and off like that, boy, you disconnected. Like you ain't got no emotion, no
sense
feelings.
of resolve. And a lot of them have taken their perceived powerlessness and turned it into power.
Absolutely. I get that too. I get that too.
They're like, okay, this happened to me,
so
but I'm going to take it and turn it around, and I'm going to make money off of it.
I hear stories them being molested. Some of them have been traumatized as children, and they grow up, and then it's like,
or some of them are running from group homes at 17 and go out there, and that's the way they earn money.
They earn money.
Yeah,
that's true. It does set it up for sex trafficking. I can see how that could be a window of an opportunity for somebody who has a platform like that. Mm-hmm. I get what you're saying. Yeah. Well, listen, we pride ourselves on talking about things, things that are a little different, things that would, kind of make you think a little bit, prick your conscience a little bit. And we hope you guys have learned something today. And one thing you learned, the porn industry is a $97 billion industry, and in $3,000 a second is made. Oh, that's a lot of money, and 30,000 people a second are watching pornography. So, hey, man, like the old people used to say, guard your eye gate and your ear gate, didn't it?
Yeah.
Old folks.
Yeah.
It's almost, we're living in that day and time. So, listen, this is the Ross Cloud Podcast. I'm Car.Ross Sr.
And I am Candi T. Jeter.
Make it a great day and keep being great. Peace.